So what do I do all this for? You know, one of the big problems that we have out there in Christianity and in the churches is that everybody's geared up to preach to the saved. When originally, when Jesus gave his commandments to his disciples before he left this earth and went to heaven, he said, go into the world and preach the gospel. Go and make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son and Holy Spirit. Now, he didn't say, gather yourselves together onto big buildings and then set yourselves up teachers and pastors and prophets and evangelists to keep teaching you and teaching you and teaching you about what you should be learning out there in the world when you are preaching to and talking to and being you amongst the unsaved. Now there's a whole world out there that's wouldn't have a clue why Jesus died on the cross. What did he die on the cross for? Who is he? Why is it to do? What's it to do with the Jews? I mean, what's it to do with us if it's all about Jews? I see a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Noah's Ark, you know. What's that all about? Was that true or not? I think the big thing that impresses me about the preaching and teaching of Jesus Christ is that he gives us hope. Hope that there is a future beyond this earth. That we were designed to live forever and ever without being sick or having the problems we have down here on the earth. That this ball in the middle of nowhere that we're floating around on has a bigger purpose. It's like a factory of the children of God. God is creating children down here to populate eternity. Now, if you're not interested in that, bully. More glory to you and more power to you, because you have a decision, you see. And you see, that's what the issue is. The issue is there a life ever after? And if there is, how do I get there? And that was the big thing that intrigued me when I first heard the message, and like I was Mr. Rebel. I used to ride in the gangs and the Hells Angels in Auckland, New Zealand. So I have a story to tell, and I'm going to tell it. But if you want to listen, you listen. If you don't, turn it off. Now, do I have an agenda to perhaps get you to put your hand in your pocket and send me a donation for my little stint before the camera? No, I don't. How stupid is that? What the heck would I want to do that for? I'm just an ordinary guy, you see, talking to ordinary peanut butter sandwich guys and girls out there. And I have no agenda apart from enjoying telling people what life's all about and the truth as I see it. I think we've had the wool pulled over our eyes too often by church, by preachers, by religious people. The last thing I wanted to do when I first heard the message was to go to church with a whole lot of old people and a lot of pimply faced girls who couldn't get boyfriends, and vice versa. I rode in the gangs at the time. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed drinking beer, taking drugs, going to parties, getting into fights, being a rebel. I enjoyed all that. I rode the motorcycles. I enjoyed the fellowship of guys that enjoyed the same thing as me. But one day I came face to face with the reality that God may exist. And if he does, what do I have to do? And we all come to that, one way or the other. Now, if you think about it logically, and I've spoken about that before on this place, we're floating around in the middle of nowhere in this ball. And what are we doing down here? We're earning money so that we can buy stuff. We're looking for partners so that we can get married or live together. We have children, we bring up the children. We get older and older. One day we're in our dressing gown, the packet of cigarettes in front of us and a beer, with the best bets in our hand, listening to the races to try and win some money, or watching lotto to see whether we won that, so that we can get more money, so that we can spend it. And hopefully the aim is to get happy. Now, why are there so many unhappy people with money, with flash cars, flash houses, designer gear, $1,000 suits? Why are they unhappy? Why are there many broken marriages? There's something missing in our lives. Something missing, and it's called the truth. What the heck are we doing here? We all want to know the purpose of living. Do we have to go to India and become a guru, live in a cave? Do we have to be like the flash evangelists up there, waving their hands in the air and the whole choir falls over? What do we have to do? What are we here for? What's it all about? Now there is an answer, and I believe I have it. And I'd like to talk to you about it. What I've found and what I've discovered. And I'll tell you what, there's a journey involved, there's a few blisters, there's a few bruises, there's a lot of sweat. But at the end of the day, there's a massive eternal reward. And while we live and breathe, we should be interested in that. Scripture says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Now, faith is something that we don't really have a lot of in this world. Yet in a way we do, because we have to have a lot of faith that every time we jump in the car, those brakes are going to work when you drive down the road. If you think about it, we trust the other driver on the other side of the road, that he's not going to drive across and smash into you, that he's going to stop in time behind you and in front of you. We trust the bus driver every time we jump in a bus, or taxi driver, or the pilot when we jump on a plane. We trust that when we flick that switch, the light's going to come on, and when we turn the hot water tap, it's going to get hot. So there's a certain amount of faith we do have. Now, the Bible says that faith works by hope. Hope is another thing that we see in bits and pieces in our lives here. Now, there was a man in the Bible called Abraham. In Maori it's called Apirana. Abraham had faith in God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. That means God said, you're righteous because you believe in me. Now how stupid is that? And how easy is that? Believe in God and he will give you righteousness. Now he's the father of faith. He's the father of the Christian movement throughout the world for the last 2,000 odd years. He's the father of the Jews as well. Plus he's the father of other races around the world. The Arab race he's the father of, through one of his other sons. when he was 100 and something years old, and Sarah, his first wife, died after she had Isaac, Abraham married again. And he had more kids and sent them off to the east. So he's a father of a lot more than just the spiritual races. He's a father of, physically, of a lot of us around the place. Now, he's the father of the faith, the whole faith issue. So believing that God exists for a start is a good start. And then pursuing that and believing in Him and what He says is better. Because God says He will call you righteous. So there is a start and there is a beginning. And it's to do with faith, that whole word faith. You know, it's interesting because, you know, we look at fact. The opposite of faith. Fact. I won't believe until I see something. Now, I understand that motor works like this. Put petrol in it, has a spark, has gas. We drive around in these cars every day. One just went past there. They still have the old internal combustion engine, which is hundreds of years old. We should have gone beyond there by then, but there were reasons for that. So if you want to start the whole issue of finding what we're all about, faith and hope are two things. The other one that works without it, says in the scripture, is love. Faith, hope and love. And they're not hard to do because they're things that you can actually work out inside of you. So let's begin there. Faith, hope.